Part 28. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 276. Remember for 1 second, to provide you with wonderful novel reading. Is it a new student to enter the school? Fernandez of the registration office shines. This is two beautiful people. Yes, we are from Palermo. I am Jude, this is Esmeralda, my sister, short hair beauty whispered. Jude. Esmeralda, Fernandez's gaze was searched on the roster. Sorry, why didn't I find two names? Hey, President Yang told us to report directly. Jude slightly frowned. Ah, you are the special enrollment of the Deputy Director Yang? I remember it. Fernandez quickly made up for it. I will go through the admission process for the two ladies. Such a beautiful and generous girl, should be the children of the great people of Palermo? Otherwise, how can it become a special enrollment student that has never been seen before in Violet College? Sorry. I am a man, Jude quickly reminded. Fernandez is a bit awkward, your skin is so white, there is no hair, and the throat is invisible. Tell me you are a man? Aside from the side, Esmeralda grinned and grinned. Although she can't see her eyes, she has a keen heart. If you didn't make a mistake, the Lista sergeant should have been tempted by Jude. His eyes began to get hot, and his heartbeat accelerated. Well, since you insist, then when you are a man, Fernandez shook his head helplessly, I have to remind you that when you allocate a dormitory, you have to live with other men. Oh. Jude was hesitant. Did he tell him that he lives in the Violet Fortress, the fourth apostle under the command of the Zyway instructor? To know that the college's current highest winner of the Zyway scholarship is only a disciple of Zyway's mentor? Jude is full of interest in the upcoming college life. He doesn't want to have such a huge gap with his classmates. My sister is not very good, needs someone to take care of. I don't know if I can separate my sister and I in a separate dormitory. Jude took his mind and asked. Although most of the new apprentices are 4 people, if you are willing to pay more, it is not impossible to live in a double dormitory. 20 UN per semester. So expensive, Jude was scared by this amount. Normal tuition fees are only 1 gold per semester, but for apprentices who want to enjoy better treatment, we are not able to provide more upscale and more comfortable services, as long as you have enough gold coins. Fernandez smiled said, this is the instruction of the president of Zyway. You look at the mountains over there, and we'll build a beautiful villa area in the future. It is mainly provided to the instructors of the college. But if you have more money, you can also consider staying in it. Each building costs just 1,000 gold coins per semester. 40 gold coins, right? I can still afford it. Jude took out 40 hintal and handed them to Fernandez. Wealth gold, yes, there are currently 1 to 6 floors of apartments to choose from. How many floors do you like to live in? 6 layers, we like to be quiet. Well, this is your key, 6003, Fernandez handed a bunch of keys to Jude. Do you pay tuition directly, or sign a talent training program? This plan has a very big discount, in the no interest will be charged during the school. If you pay off once at the time of graduation, you will earn a generous interest money. At present, the mainstream loan interest of the Kingdom of France is about 15% a year, which is not a usury. What is the talent training program? Jude did not quite understand. Did Zyway's tutor do this? Isn't he losing money? In fact, Zyway is indeed losing money to do education. The tuition fee is not comparable to the various cast materials, medicines, and arcane crystals consumed. And knowledge is priceless. However, for Zyway, who has zero help, when money is not rich to a certain extent, it is already a cloud for him. In fact, Zyway himself is not very heavy on money. Although he had already set up a Violet Chamber of Commerce, he specialized in the development and production of various magical industrial products, which were used to dump the whole continent, but he did not start because of the lack of effective manpower. The talent training program is actually to give you a period of time after graduation. You need to work for the violets and create enough value to pay your tuition. But in my opinion, the Westway mentor is still to be merciful, not only let qualified students enroll in school for free, but also solve work problems for their future, Fernandez explained. I heard the words graduation, but the practice of magic does not need to be pursued for a lifetime, Jude simply asked all the incomprehensible. The Violet Academy certainly welcomes you to continue studying here, but for most people, there is a ceiling on the top of the head. If you are in Violet Academy for 3 years you can't be promoted to become a formal magician, then you can say that the qualifications on the magician road are not very good. In this case, the college cannot continue to invest valuable resources in these talented and hard-working people, and graduation has become the only choice. Fernandez is clearly not the first to answer this question, he explained proficiently. In the future blueprint designed by President Sci-fi, magic will be completely popularized. Most of the underqualified people can become magic apprentices, learn magic, and can work in the magic workshop in the future. You can purchase various magic industrial exhibits. Become a part of the entire magic society. And those who are willing to pursue on the magical path, with enough talent and hard work, can continue to study at the Violet Academy. Formal magician, mid-level magician, high-level magician, even magic master. The future Violet Academy will be a beacon, guiding the entire Orient continent to the interest of magic and the young people who yearn for it. And it is firmly believed that the Violet Academy under the leadership of President Sci-fi will inevitably surpass the Tower of the Thousand Laws and become the first magical sanctuary of mankind, Fernandez said with impatience. He has been captured by this great ideal and bright future. I don't hesitate to devote myself to this vigorous era, and strive for the career of Violet College for life. To be continued. Mobile users please browse and read, a better reading experience. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 277. Remember for 1 second, to provide you with wonderful novel reading. This is your student nameplate, please accept it. Fernandez handed 2 white nameplates with a distinctive texture of metal to the Jude. This nameplate is very important and is currently being the principal has integrated many features and will continue to add in the future. What's the color? Jude took it and glanced at the green nameplate hanging on Fernandez's chest. Of course. The white nameplate belongs to all junior high school magic apprentices. The high-level magic apprentice is green. On this, every magician level has a unique color. You are familiar with studying at the college for a while. The most important function of the student nameplate is Western spell list. The president of Sci-fi has created a very powerful magical robot, which records all the spells he has in it, and opens it to the Violet Academy. Every student learns, and this is the biggest benefit. Our Violet College students have made rapid progress and have a very big relationship with this function. After you complete the meditation and become a true magic apprentice, you can experience its superpower. Fernandez handed 2 lists to Jude. This is a list of books and items that first-year freshmen need. There are shops in the harbor town, you can go there to buy, welcome the arrival of the schoolmates and hope that you will have a good time here. Thank you, the senior, said Jude's politeness. There have been new students reporting. After saying goodbye to Fernandez, he took his sister out of the registration office. How? Registration is complete, Lista greeted her first time. Where is your dormitory? 6003. 6003? Actually it is a double dormitory. It's great. I live in 5006. Everyone is a neighbor, Lista said happily. 2 beautiful ladies, I don't know if I have the honor to invite you going to lunch. I know that there is a hotel in the harbor town where the roasted foie gras is very delicious. Thank you Lista, I am sorry, we are a little tired, we need to rest first. Jude's face instantly turned from a sunny to a haze. In the end, I want to solemnly declare that I am a man. What? So beautiful is a boy. Lista said she could not accept it. I am fascinated by a wise man. Standing in the same position, watching two beautiful people slowly walked out of the field side by side, Lista heart cut like a knife, the whole person completely lost the spirit. On the second day, on January 12, 1787, all the students of the Violet Academy had already enrolled in the school, and the first day of the new semester has arrived. All students and mentors wear the new Violet Academy magic robe and go to the arena to attend the opening ceremony of the new semester. Hundreds of students finally made this magnificent building look so empty. After all the colleges and mentors have been seated, along with a white light, the president of Violet Academy, 11 Way, finally appeared on the rostrum. In today's grand day, he wore a very formal and solemn purple magic robe with an ankle strap and an insignia. The entire set of magic robe was designed and finished by Zero. It can be said that it is very windy and let Ziwei full of refined and knowledgeable temperament. Although it is a human form, Ziwei, under the sun, is dazzling to the extreme. His blue eyes seem to be radiant with a kind of wisdom. Everyone who sees him is involuntarily attracted by his eyes. Sit quietly, waiting for his upcoming speech. Today is a memorable day. On January 12, 1787, the Violet Academy welcomed 55 freshmen, and the number of students in our college broke through 100. Looking at this time last year, Violet Island is still a desolate island. Except for a tower, there is no wisdom creation of human civilization. But now, it has become a place of hope, a land of wisdom, a land of glory. The warm applause broke out when the voice of Ziwei was just down. All the tutors and students were desperately patted with their hands, and they gave the highest respect to the president of the Violet Academy. This is not my credit. The current Violet Academy is a reflection of the sweat and wisdom of all people. Our vice president, Yang, is devoted to his duties and is responsible for his duties. During my departure from Violet, I was perfectly qualified for the management school. He is also a learned and responsible instructor who has trained one formal magician after another. Let us give him the warmest applause. Yang, who was also wearing a very formal magic robe, stood up and bowed slightly, thanking everyone for applause. Mrs. Wenschel, Ms. Charlotte, Mr. Fawaway, as the mentor of the Violet Academy, each of them has done their best to let us pay tribute to them. The applause remained the same, and the three faces had a bright smile and a sense of accomplishment, thanking the students for their applause. Today, Charlotte still can't completely control his blood. Ziwei had to temporarily help suppress the blood activity in her body, so that Charlotte can appear in the most perfect appearance. And our Harbor Town Mayor Ryan, Arcane Garden Manager Lyndon, and the president of the Palermo Masters Association, Ed, have made tremendous contributions to the development of the Violet. Ryan, Lyndon, and Ed are all dressed up today, which is also a glory moment in their lives that is hard to forget. The Violet Academy is developing at a high speed. I believe that next year will be more brilliant, with more and more students entering the official magic level. The development of Violet Academy has reached a new stage. I will try my best to train magicians, mid-level magicians, high-level magicians, and even future magic masters. For this reason, I have hired 2 new professors to become our magician mentor at the Violet Academy. The voice of Ziwei just fell, the audience was silent, all the apprentices and the mentor looked with a look of hope. This is a new mentor. The first is Professor Morris. He is a 6-ring high-level magician, majoring in summoning school, minor in protective school. He is a learned elder and a very gentle gentleman. Please also welcome new instructor. Accompanied by a white light, Morris sent to the side of the rostrum. He walked onto the rostrum without hesitation, and gestured slightly to the audience. He has gray hair and a beard, and at first glance is a mentor with rich life experience and magic accumulation. This is a 6-ring high-level magician. This time the applause of the audience was second only to the appearance of Ziwei. To be continued. Mobile users please browse and read, a better reading experience. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 278. Remember for 1 second, to provide you with wonderful novel reading. After Morris entered the instructor's seat, Ziwei adjusted his breath. The second is Professor Zero. She is a 5-ring high-level magician, astronomical intelligent creature, majoring in change school, minor in element and structure. School. Since Ziwei would stay in Violet for a long time to be foreseen, he would not go out, and the Zero that he could not afford finally put forward a request for Ziwei. Ziwei, the dull days are too boring, I want to live a more exciting life, Zero screamed in the long tail of Ziwei. What do you want? Ziwei's hand gently licked the hair of the forehead, curiously asked. I want to be a mentor. I want to teach and educate people. You have 5 apostles, and I have to train my own apprentice. My brother-in-law has already chosen, the werewolf girl Cynthia. Zero stood up and swayed your own furry front paws. You can't be a human figure right now. You have to wait until you master the 7-ring transformation spell of the master level. Ziwei is puzzled. You don't need human figures. I am the legendary cat professor, shouted triumphantly. Well, as you wish, you don't have to fish for 2 days in the sky. If you don't do it, you will pick it up. Zero has almost always been a perfect complement to Ziwei, and rarely raises his own demands. Therefore, as long as it is a request from the Zero opening, Ziwei will do everything in its power to satisfy her. Under the gaze of everyone, wearing a super small pocket blue magic robe, Zero jumped onto the rostrum. Her face showed a smug smile, facing the audience. Too cute. My goodness, Zero body is full of blue hair, and purple demon-like eyes, plus her cute to the extreme look, almost instantly caught all the women present. Heart. Charlotte knows that this cat is a magical pet of Ziwei, but at this moment her eyes have turned into 2 peach hearts. It is really cute, so I want to hold it in my arms. Zero up and look up, learn the appearance of Master Morris, step by step to the mentor, and seated safely. Coughing, Ziwei's 2 light coughs finally took the attention of the audience back from Zero. In the new semester, I hope that all of you can study hard. Our magicians are not only searching for strength, we are learning. It is the vast knowledge that pursues the truth behind the external manifestation of this world thing. The magician has terrible destructive power, but also has extraordinary creativity. I hope that you can walk on the magician's road. 10 years later, 20 years later, 100 years later, we can still study and live together. Classmates, please come on. Ziwei's speech at the opening ceremony was finally over, and the audience applauded. Can live another 100 years, how can it be a high-level magician? This is the eager anticipation of President Ziwei to everyone. Tonight, also in Violet Fort, I will hold a grand welcome dinner. I hope you can attend. You can put on the most beautiful costumes. This dinner is easy and enjoyable, 11 Wei said with a smile. So cool. Chairman of Ziwei, we love you. Many people have blown up the crisp whistle, which is obviously very welcome to Ziwei's decision. After Ziwei, Vice President Yang also delivered a speech, mainly about the specific arrangements of the new semester course and school discipline, as well as important things such as credits, scholarships, and arcane points. The opening ceremony ended very soon after this. Outside the Violet Academy, there are already 10 carriages that are shining with bright golden light and built purely by magic. They are waiting quietly. This is a temporary carriage that Ziwei uses to summon the 4-ring spell magic carriage call spell. There can be a time of magic, and each carriage can accommodate 20 passengers. The magic carriage is almost floating on the road, so it is very fast and very stable. Almost every high-level magician needs to use this very convenient spell when banquet guests. On top of this, there is also a 6-ring magic flying carriage calling spell, which can summon the magic carriage flying above the sky. The students who put on the most beautiful costumes took the magic carriage, and the magic horse galloped away. In less than a quarter of an hour, they rushed to the Violet Fort on the other side of the island. All the lights in the Violet Fortress have all shine, and the whole castle looks beautiful to the extreme. When the Violet Fortress was just completed last year, the apprentices had the privilege of coming here to eat once, which is really an unforgettable food experience. Fortunately, Tom got the endless fluffy bread presented by President Ziwei, and has not finished eating it yet. The huge banquet hall of the Violet Academy accommodated hundreds of guests. After a sumptuous dinner, all the tables and tableware were evacuated. The whole hall became a huge banquet hall and was promoted to become a formal magician. The Miss Nightingale played a sweet music at the dinner. Whether it is an old student who has experienced it or a new student who has experienced it for the first time, I am very satisfied with this welcome dinner and I am full of praise. Until the night was dark, Ziwei once again summoned the magic carriage and sent the students back to their dormitory. The next day, the formal course will begin, and a happy and arduous learning life is about to begin for the students. Jude has already explained to Ziwei that he wants to experience the life of a real college freshman. Ziwei also agrees. This is a rare life experience. After they moved out, the entire Violet Fortress became deserted again, and several night elf girls were going to return to the dark village to rest at night. Now the Violet Academy is just ushered in a small peak. When the 3 magical popular reading materials are really sold throughout the continent, many qualified young people stand out and come to Violet to study. Moment. Ziwei is not worried that someone will cut his hu. What magical learning needs is a huge fortune according to the traditional magic education method. Even if only one magician is trained, all need 3-5 years and thousands of coins. And the qualifications of the magic apprentice are very demanding. Since then, each level of promotion requires a lot of resources and wealth. Moreover, the magicians have an attitude of being indifferent to their own spells and knowledge. Many times, they can only learn the most basic and worst street spells with money. There may be a few days before being taken away by the local magician guild or college, but most young geniuses who don't have so much money and want to change their destiny, only 1,000 miles to the island of Violet can choose. On this cold night, watching Charlotte, who was sleeping peacefully in his arms, Ziwei began to miss his energetic 18-year-old girlfriend Natalia. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 279. Backslash, backslash backslash, backslash backslash. This chapter is the first book of the book Eternal Truth plus more. The next day, when it was dawn, there was an old tree with magpies falling in the courtyard and starting to sprout new sprouts. Spring is not far away, it seems that this is a good sign. Of course it's a good o'clock. My holographic scanning system swept a ship and was driving into the port. Which one do you guess? Asked a smile in a blue magic robe, and now she has rarely reintegrated into the West. Inside the body of the dimension. Is the friendship number not leaving the port yet? Is it the Wild Heart? Ziwei guessed. I still don't tell you. Hurry to the port. Zero Naughty licked the tail and did not tell the West Victoria answer. There was a speculation in Ziwei's mind. He instantly became excited. He took a transfer of Charlotte, who had just changed clothes, and appeared in the harbor. A ship that is more than 50 meters long, like a behemoth-like warship lying on the sea, is slowly docking at the dock. This battleship mast is hung with a blue-golden lion flag, which is the flag of the Bonaparte family. On the deck, a full-fledged woman with golden armor and long blonde hair with a pair of bright silver hands and swords is looking at the new harbor town. It is the girlfriend of Ziwei, the heir to the Bonaparte family, and the sixth-order blood knight Natalia. Seeing the figure of Ziwei, she flew in the air and flew directly to the front of Ziwei. Dear, I haven't seen you for a long time. Ziwei showed a bright smile, and his blue eyes were as gentle as water. Dear, I haven't seen you for a long time. Natalia's eyes became crystal clear, and she walked forward and devoted herself to the open arms of Ziwei. Two people are forgotten to embrace together, kissing in a sorrowful manner, greedily sucking the burning tongue of each other, and using this kiss full of love to announce the end of a bitter separation. Charlotte stood quietly on the side, like a gentle orchid of the same tree, which was waiting to be released. After a long time, Ziwei finally separated from Natalia. Dear, it's been a long time no see. Natalia smiled and hugged with Charlotte, her hands still slap in her face. Right, Ziwei, remember that I said to you in the letter, to bring you a surprise. After the separation from Charlotte, Natalia raised the topic. Yes, what surprise is it? Asked Ziwei. La la la, the surprise is here. Natalia reached out and directed Civi's gaze to a girl who had just stepped down from the cabin. Her long blonde hair is braided into a fine braid, a pair of big eyes with a slight red light, wearing a white dress like a little princess. The whole person is as pitiful as a deer. Melly, Westway exclaimed, this is an unexpected surprise. Ziwei walked quickly, and Meryl also ran into the arms of Ziwei directly. Tears slipped from Meryl's eyes like crystal tears. She quietly stayed in the warm and broad arms of Ziwei, smelling the familiar warm smell of his body. This separation seems to have been a lifetime. 11Wei's hands were a little trembling in Meryl's thin back, which was the first girl he had contacted in this world, and his most proud first apostle. Come back. Come back. You will always be my beloved student. The voice of Ziwei began to tremble. He held the girl in his arms tightly, like holding a fragile porcelain. When the relationship between the two men was almost vented, Natalia came forward and looked smug. Ziwei, praise me. I am not arguing for it. I am afraid that the mother will not put Meryl. Go away. Thank you, Natalia. Ziwei had to thank Natalia. She looked awkward, but she knew what it was in her heart. Cut, if you don't see my sister getting more and more silent at home, I won't be cheaper for you. Natalia proudly raised her head. I heard that Christine is gone? You are so useless to Ziwei, even the individual can't stay. Reassured, Natalia, I have a gamble with her, and I am also winning the prize. After half a year, she will become a member of the Violet Academy. This is good. Violet, it's really a good name. Take me to see the Violet Castle, I can dream about it. The two sisters of Bonaparte took the magic carriage called by Ziwei and rushed to the Violet Castle. It's really beyond imagination. It's really good. Natalia's eyes were all bent, and she watched it in the whole castle, as full as the real hostess. Meryl, have you been doing well recently? Ziwei bowed his head and asked the girl who had been silent for her side. Fortunately. Not too good. Meryl raised her head. In the Blue Castle, although accompanied by parents and sisters, but not happy. At this moment, Charlotte gave birth to the infinite mercy of the girl Meryl. When I was still in the tower, when Ziwei was only a magic apprentice, the two had already started to fight against Ziwei, hoping to attract the attention of Ziwei and become his girlfriend. However, the feelings of Ziwei have now belonged to Natalia. Although she failed, she did not completely fail, and she was able to be a pillow for Ziwei. But Meryl, from now on, can only be a student of Ziwei. Because Count Bonaparte will never allow his two daughters to follow Ziwei. What level of magic do you learn now? Ziwei's feelings of grief and grief in the face of the girl cannot respond positively, can only open the topic. The peak of the second ring magician, only the remodeling of the heart of the lake can enter the magician. Meryl did not lose her sense, she knows the discomfort of Ziwei. As long as you can stay with West Vigo, get along with him, this is enough. Very good. It seems that you have never given up on the pursuit of magic. Be aware that after leaving, Meryl did not have any guidance, but in such a short period of time he was promoted to become the second ring magician. She must have used all her heart and energy in magic learning. Melil, you are doing very well. I will fully guide you, you will become a great arcane master. I promise, Ziwei made a solemn commitment. Xavier brother, I will be your lifelong student. Meryl's delicate face burst into a bright smile. This moment she is so beautiful, like a dream elf. The white stone outside the 100 nautical miles flashed, and two figures suddenly appeared. Haha, finally able to breathe freely under the sky, a girl smiled and shouted. Freya, you are now the queen of a million Naga. How is it so childish, is an old man who has a long 8 beard. Uncle Paul, Frijiao said, now I have returned to the Orient Plain. Here I am only the third apostle of the Westway Mentor. I can't wait to see the Westway Mentor again. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 280. Remember for 1 second, to provide you with wonderful novel reading. This is the master bedroom. Is it quite big? The 3-story master bedroom of Violetberg is almost a luxurious and spacious hall, and the middle of the room is a comfortable and wide bed. The 3-story design has a lot of different styles of bedrooms, and most of them are still empty now. Charlotte, you go with Meryl to pick one of her favorite. Charlotte smiled slightly, taking Meryl from the room disappeared. Hey, it seems that Charlotte has been here for a while. Natalia looked at Ziwei with a smile. It is true. It seems that you have already. Natalia scored a dirty gesture with her hands. Oh, I am sorry, she was so charming at the time. Ziwei was a little nervous, although this thing has already got Natalia's default, but it is still a bit of a loss. I can understand. Man. Natalia raised her eyebrows, but since I am here, I will live here. No problem. How long can you stay this time? West Villa lived Natalia's hand and took her into her arms. I have gained a new talent for blood awakening and have entered a stable phase. There should be no more important things to do for a long time to be foreseen. Everything in the family is on the right track now, and the mother supports it. I don't want to immerse myself in all kinds of busy government affairs early. Natalia smiled and looked at Ziwei. It seems that my parents support this relationship between me and you. You left them all very good impression. This is my honor. The two people's noses clung tightly together, greedily breathing the hormonal scent from each other. I heard Charlotte say that you have been promoted to a high-level magician? It's really fast. When we all enter the master class, we will get married. Natalia's face began to turn red. Very good. I am able to marry Natalia like you, the greatest luck of Ziwei. Ziwei's smile was brilliant to the extreme. One thing to explain in advance, among our children, the one who awakened the blood of the Bonaparte family, to be the surname of the Bonaparte family, will become the heir to the Bonaparte family in the future. Do you know if you can accept it? Natalia looked up at Ziwei, which may be the biggest problem facing the two. So it seems that we have to have more children. Ziwei's voice just fell, and Natalia was hugged. The two rolled onto the bed and began to kiss eagerly. Natalia's skin became red rose, she bit her white teeth, and a pair of white hands danced like a wind, easily fading all the clothes on both. You are really passionate, Natalia. The whole person of Ziwei has been crushed by Natalia, unexpectedly. It is obvious that I am your girlfriend, but I was robbed by Charlotte. I think it is a pity. I don't know if it is regrettable that I didn't get the first time. Natalia crazy. The kiss in the upper body of Ziwei. Are you sure you want to use this position? Ziwei is ready to go. Of course, you forgot the communication we used to be? I am a female knight. So the female knight in the new mount body forgotten to gallop, all the passions accumulated in this parting time as the sea is more vented. When the two reappeared in front of everyone, it was already at lunchtime. Professor Zero is currently the chef of Violetberg. No one of her cooking dishes is praised. Natalia is a 6th order blood knight. Although she has just been traumatized, there is no obstacle between her actions. However, her eyebrows are a bit flattering and affectionate, and her femininity is much more. In this state, she is glamorous, and both Charlotte and Meryl are firmly suppressed. Both Charlotte and Meryl understood what had just happened. The complex feelings in the hearts of two people have been difficult to express in words. Natalia did not have the shame of just evolving from a girl to a young woman. She was flying, and the provocative eyes in the provocation had fallen on Charlotte. Charlotte simply couldn't wait to find a place to sneak in. The blood energy in her body was suddenly out of control. The two witches' horns and the dark red magic wings behind them stretched out again. Wow, what happened? It's really cool, Natalia whistled, and she had already rushed to Charlotte, her hands curiously stroking on Charlotte's dark red wing. Charlotte's dark red magic wing is still nascent, soft, and sensitive, and by the touch of Natalia, the whole person is soft on the chair. Charlotte awakens the blood of the abyss in the body, she is the blood of Beloyan. And in order to suppress the power of this demon blood, I also injected the blood of the immortal bird for Charlotte. Now she is a double blood. Warlock, explained Zaiwei. Beloyan? It is a powerful warrior in the sequence of the endless abyss. Maybe Charlotte has the possibility to become a blood knight. Natalia thought about it. Charlotte now sees it is impossible to control the blood of the body, but in my family secret, there is a special exercise secret. That's good, it seems that Charlotte's ability is in control of you. For the blood ability, Zaiwei research is not deep. The Bonaparte family, as an aristocrat who has been inherited for 700 years, naturally has very in-depth and professional research in this respect. Great. I just planned to get close to Charlotte. Natalia smiled and gently patted Charlotte's shoulder. Charlotte was helpless. It seems after all, I can't escape Natalia's claws. Just then, a white light that sent a spell suddenly burst out in the banquet hall on the first floor of the Violet Fort. Zaiwei has placed a space protection array outside the entire Violet Fort. Anyone other than him will greatly increase the difficulty of casting spells. Who can directly locate the space transmission in his own castle? Hey, Natalia took out the prevailing sword of the king and jumped to the banquet hall, staring at the figure that was about to land. Freya. Miss Natalia, hello, Freya, who appeared in front of everyone, turned the scales into slender legs with a special secret. In addition to her blood-red eyes, she does not seem to have any difference from a normal human girl. It's really a double happiness. Zaiwei showed a bright smile. Welcome to your return, my third apostle, Freya. To be continued. Mobile users please read and read, a better reading experience. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 281. Remember for 1 second, to provide you with wonderful novel reading. Amy, you are going to inform Yang and Jude's brothers and sisters. Yes, and Bordeaux Don Juan. Let them all come to Violet Fort. Amy, wearing a maid costume, sat in a magic carriage and hurried away. Today is a day of reunion, and Zaiwei's mood is already very good. Meryl's sister, Freya enthusiasm and Meryl hug together, they used to be very good sisters. This is a sea spirit bead, which can increase the affinity of water, and give it to my sister. Freya took out a very beautiful, at least first-class hailing zug, handed it to Meryl. Meryl took it seriously and said with a smile, I heard that you have become the queen of the queen, then I am welcome. Freya really is a local style, giving everyone present a very valuable gift. Mr. Paul, Zaiwei tempted to ask the brown-haired old man who had been laughing and standing in front of him. His 8 beards were too obvious. Zaiwei Xiao, long time no see, it really is Octopus Paul. In this way, Paul can perfectly transform into a human form, and at least reach the master level in the magical abilities of the Change School. It's really not a shame. In the reception room on the first floor of the Violet Berg, everyone was chatting and laughing, and the guests enjoyed it. Soon, the magic carriage returned, and Yang, Esmeralda, Jude and Bordeaux walked in under the guidance of Amy. Sister, Bordeaux is less than 8 years old this year. After last year's change, he only had such a relative as his sister. However, my sister did not return after an adventure. The whole of Bordeaux has fallen into panic and sorrow, and there has been little progress in recent studies. Bordeaux, Freya quickly got up and held her half-brother in her arms. This is also her only relative in the world. I will introduce you, these two are brothers and sisters. Jude is a younger brother, my fourth apostle, Esmeralda is my sister, my fifth apostle, Ziwei began to introduce. Natalia, my lover. Meryl, my first apostle. Freya, my third apostle. Every time 11 Wei introduced one person, Jude came forward with a respectful response, but what made him look a little bit is that this one is actually a beautiful woman who is even more beautiful than her sister Esmeralda. After some chat and exchange of feelings, Freya appeared again in front of Ziwei. Ziwei mentor, I am here, mainly to continue to study here at the mentor, Freya solemnly requested. Duke Farina, is a master of magic, your uncle Paul, the magical accomplishments are also unfathomable. In this case, are you willing to follow me? Ziwei asked calmly. Their spells have their own limitations, and it is difficult to really bring out my full potential. And you can be a scholastic apprentice to your apprentices, but I am honored to be your apprentice. When I talked about the idea of arcane, I firmly believed in becoming an arcane master. Freya is worthy of being a queen of Naga for a few months. The temperament is completely different, and the whole person has matured a lot. Good. If so, as long as you have time, then you can continue to study in China, Sylvester said, just across the plain. After all, the traffic is not smooth. How do you communicate with the deep sea? This is exactly what I intend to talk to with the small friends of Ziwei. I intend to move the central stone pillars located hundreds of nautical miles away, and move the transmission array connecting the Ulant Plain and the Deep Sea Plain to the island of Violet. I don't know what you mean, Octopus Paul suddenly spoke up. The more he understood the space magic, the more the Ziwei had enough respect for the magician who arranged the transmission array connecting the Ulant Plain and the Deep Sea Plain. It is possible to arrange a magical array that is stable and effective for a long time and can be transmitted across the plane without consuming a great price. This is impossible for magic masters. Mr. Paul is the one who sent the law array, Ziwei asked. The old face of Octopus Paul suddenly smiled. Ziwei Xiao, do you know where I grew up first? Being able to grow into a legendary strongman, Octopus Paul must have an extremely strong talent, and the place where he grows must be the secret of a variety of resources that are rich to the extreme. The earliest me, just a pet, there is no difference in the other octopus in the world, Octopus Paul said with a smile. Impossible, Ziwei can't believe that an ordinary octopus can grow to a legendary level. This is far more difficult than an ordinary person to become a legendary powerhouse. Because my master has a great name in the whole multifaceted plane. He is the empty traveler Grodik, the second legendary mage among humans. Octopus Paul is clearly full of respect for his master. He is the second legendary mage after Turafat. Human understanding and development of the multifaceted planes are all from the beginning. Without the owner of Grodik, human beings will probably be confined to the small Orient plane. It is impossible to cross the barrier between the spaces and carry out the plane. If other legendary occupations are in this world, and have their own understanding and mastery of the power source, this will be able to rank among the legendary ranks. Then every legendary mage must be a world-famous person in the world. If you want to achieve the legendary mage, you must have a great pioneering and innovative magic. Every magician's card is legendary, and it is undoubtedly accompanied by the rise of a new magical manifestation. Every legendary mage can easily suppress other legendary careers, even the legendary Blood Knight or the legendary Cardinal is not a problem. Only the true Sanctuary Strongman can compete with the legendary mage. Nowadays, whether it is the Church of the Glorious Lord, the Holy Norman Empire or other great Orient countries with sufficient strength, they are striving to conquer and expand across the plane. This is the most important reason why the entire continent of Orient can maintain peace for hundreds of years without breaking the war between big powers and big powers. Human beings can walk out of the limitations of the Orient plane and truly turn their attention to the entire multifaceted plane. It can be said that the Void Traveler Grodic has made great contributions. Grodic is undoubtedly the first in the world in the creation of space magic. 100 years ago, the owner of Grodic left the Tower of the Thousand Laws and began to explore the deepest part of the multifaceted plane. At that time, the master promoted my blood to the legendary level. For space spells, I also have a certain the study, combined with the treasures left to me by the master, has been arranged to complete the transmission of the Orient plane and the deep sea plane. Octopus Paul explained. Only the Estanba and Philip families have recently going to explore. I am worried that someone is really aware of the mystery, so I need to transfer the position of the space array. To be continued. Mobile users please browse and read, a better reading experience. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 282. Remember for 1 second, to provide you with wonderful novel reading. Transmission of the array is not all chosen to establish the weakest space barrier between the two worlds. How has the fixed transmission array moved? Ziwei asked inexplicably. 11 Wei's understanding of space spells relies on his own self-improvement. He only learned a few simple flashes, transmission spells, and more space-related spell deductions from Descartes' magic book and Christine. Rely on the evolution of the world's space-jumping technology. The space barrier of the Orient world is far weaker than the once world. The transmission means used by Ziwei is not high in technology, and it is a force-breaking, high-cost consumption of mental power and magic. But Void Traveler Grodic is the strongest space magician in charge of human beings, and opened up the space magic school in one fell swoop, with this card to be the top power of the legendary magician. Even if the Octopus Paul only got 1/10 of the inheritance of Grodic, Ziwei can also understand the essence of space magic by using the real eye to observe the Octopus Paul caster. Good. No problem. If you can arrange the space array in my Violet Island, it is also a good thing. At least this way, the communication with the deep sea plane will be much simpler. This is a whole plane, if it is developed in depth. But great resources and benefits. This is an urgent matter. First of all, I have to patrol the island to find the most suitable space node for the space array. Octopus Paul licked his 8 beards. I have a spell called Space. The surveying technique can understand the secret of the spatial plane and find the most stable and prominent space node. It is used to arrange the 2-band transmission array. This spell is upgraded to a 9-ring legendary spell. The general knowledge of the world, God can penetrate the surface barriers and explore the mystery of the multidimensional plane. This spell is the secret of my master Grodic, and the key to his ability to be the Empty Traveler title. I don't know if Mr. Paul can use this door to smash the universal world. Listening is very pressing. This is a legendary spell. My magical accomplishments are only on the 7th ring level. Not to mention me, it is the rumored disciple of Grodic's master. I am afraid I can't fully display this mystery. Because you must have a good understanding of the spatial structure and changes of the multidimensional planes in order to display this extremely difficult legendary spell. Then ask Mr. Paul to live in Violet Fort. How? Westway invited the Octopus Paul to live in the castle, and regardless of the strength of his legendary ranks, it was merely passed down from the Void Traveler. Grodic's space spells make Ziwei look hot. Many spells have upgraded versions and simplified versions, such as the relationship between the 3-ring spell Fireball and the 4-ring spell Blast. The idea of these spells is the same, and the spell model has a lot of the same link. The difference is that the magic level and the required mental power are different. The 7-ring spell space survey is undoubtedly a simplified version of the legendary spell Breaking the World, almost equivalent to Grodic's core rumor secret, can be described as the world's deepest and most powerful space spell inherited. If you can get the space spell inheritance, it is almost equivalent to Zyway from the underground secret room to get the Descartes elemental magic book and the etheric ball. In this way, Zyway's accomplishments in space magic can be compared with elemental spells in the future. For this reason, the octopus Paul enjoyed the highest standard of treatment on the Violet Island. Professor Zero also offered some of the most popular foods in the 35th century. Cooking was given to the octopus Paul, even in the Violet Fort. Everyone is dimmed. Zyway Zyaoa, you know what shape I have in the whole plane of the Orient world. Octopus Paul enjoyed a rare meal, in a good mood, squinting, and Zyway said. Apparently an ellipsoid, almost the same shape as an egg. Zyway once observed the world tree with the help of Ms Yin Yu, so the general shape of the main material plane Oulun world is intuitive and simple. Cognition. Not bad, Octopus Paul nodded with satisfaction, so you know that this face barrier has several different infrastructures. 11-Way was speechless, and he never really explored the structure of the barriers. When using the astral shuttle spell, the 3 exquisite magical inscriptions can easily pass the space through the space barrier, reducing the space that could have been played by only the 8-ring magician or even the legendary magician to the 6-ring level. Want to come to this exquisite spell must also have a lot of relationship with Grodic. Between the main material plane and other planes, between the half plane and the plane, between the plane and the plane, there are several special things such as the shadow plane, the endless abyss, and the astral plane. Space barriers have completely different structures. To truly understand the world, cross the void and cross the plane, these are the subjects that must be studied. The octopus Paul face began to become a bit serious. In front of him, not just Zyway, there are also a few curious apostles like Meryl, Charlotte, and Freya. Uncle Paul, you can talk about it? We are all listening. Freya is not satisfied with Paul's sale. Shake his arm. Space surveying, you can understand the space barrier between your own plane space and another plane space that wants to establish a space array, find the most stable and closest space node, the most vulnerable through the weakest. The plane barriers establish a stable space magic channel. It can be said that space surveying is a necessary prerequisite for establishing 2-plane planes. Octopus Paul finally explained the key to the problem. After the survey, how to arrange the transmission array to establish a stable plane channel. For the transmission and transmission array arrangement between the same plane, Zyway has a certain experience, but for the transmission across the plane, for him, it is still a blank. Cough, my magical rumor is not as good as that of Grodic's owner. I still have no ability to arrange the plane channel. But the magic experiment that the Grodic master once left has left a few stone pillars. This is what I can use them to lay the key to stabilizing the plane channel. Octopus Paul explained a little embarrassedly. These transmission pillars are from a mysterious and collapsed antiquity plane explored by the owner of Grodic. This plane can once be hooked up at the same time hundreds of planes, almost the center of the entire multi-level plane. Among the remains of the plane, the Grodic masters found traces of creatures and civilizations such as dragons, elves, demons, and other tyrannical creatures. To be continued. Mobile users please browse and read, a better reading experience. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 283. Remember for 1 second, to provide you with wonderful novel reading. Although the plane of the Orient continent is the main material plane, it is not the most extensive plane of the entire multi-plane. Some giant planes are much larger than the Orient plane, and the creatures living in it also have mysterious strength. Space spells are the spells that must be mastered to explore the multi-planet, just like the key to unlocking the treasure chest. If you can establish a stable space channel to another plane, you can start a truly stable war. According to the information that Zyway received from Christine, In the past 200 years, many pioneering knights and new aristocrats in the mainland have gained rich returns and huge benefits in the plain war. Can reach the upper level of the kingdom. Moreover, space spells are not only used for detection, but also have an extremely powerful role in combat. The secondary lock spell used by Zai in the avatar of the Newman template is an important spell that can sever the enemy's means of escape, and there are more powerful spells such as Space Collapse and Secondary Blade. The only flaw in space spells is that the starting level is at the level of the 3 rings, and there are very strong requirements for deductive calculations and 3-dimensional stereoscopic perceptions. This is what most magicians lack. However, for Zai with zero help, these are not problems. Following the octopus paw, the two seem to be leisurely strolling on the island of Violet. Zai has opened the real magic eye and observed the changes that took place in the octopus paw. His spiritual strength has been extended as an 8-claw octopus, changing into a fine and tough spiritual thread, and began to survey the space around Violet Island. This is the space survey. Even though Xavi can fully understand the changes in the octopus paw's mental power, it is difficult for him to introduce a spell model, because this spell is not a simple 7-ring spell that achieves some effect, but includes the Void Traveler Grodic. The crystallization of wisdom in space spells. In fact, the real magic eye of Zai can play a superb effect when deducing the 6 rings and the following spells, but if you want to know the master magic, there is still some power. Octopus Paul doesn't seem to be slow at every step, but the speed is extremely fast. Zai has to show himself a popular spell, which is in keeping with the footsteps of Octopus Paul. Less than a time of magic, the two have already passed through the entire Violet Island, and the octopus paw has finally stopped. In the island of Zaiao, there are a lot of secrets. Paul smiled slightly, whether it was the Night Elf village lock, or the secret laboratory under the tower, and there was nothing in the space survey. In Mr. Paul's opinion, I am afraid there is nothing to be surprised about, Zai responded with a smile. Space survey, I have completed. The most stable space node is not far from the top of the hill, nearly 50 feet above. So you need to build a tower in that place. It's not difficult to build a tower. This hill has not been planned in the heart of Zai, so it can of course be used to build a location for the plane. This space node is very stable, and it is easier to break through the space barrier. Zaiao can build a taller tower, and the plane channel leading to other planes can be built here, Paul pointed out. But Mr. Paul, I will not build the relevant spells of the space channel, Zai spread his hands. If I am willing to pass on the book Space Exploration, The Mystery of Multi-Dimensions by Grodic's Master, I don't know what you mean. Paul's 8 beards were slightly tilted. Of course I am willing. Just. Zai did not understand why Paul was so generous. Before entering Violetburg today, I have already patrolled in your college. Your understanding and philosophy of magic has surpassed most magicians. Promoting magic, ushered in a brilliant era, truly a magician. This it was the thought of the owner of Grodic. It was for this reason that he accepted the invitation of the first La Tolafit, went to the 1000 French tower to teach, and received 7 disciples. Pointing over the younger generation does not know much, Octopus Paul sighed. Unfortunately, the last Grodic master and the concept of first La Tolafit have embarked on a different path. The first method. Is this the legendary title of the master of Trafat? Zai asked inexplicably. No, this is a sort of legendary master according to the time of the legendary achievement. The Grodic master is naturally the second law. 100 years ago, there were only 6 legendary magicians in the entire Orient world until it came out again. A 7th law construction of the Queen de la Zaiao, the last time I saw you, but still a 3-ring magician, see you after 3 months, actually reached the level of the 5-ring high level, and both the soul level and the mental strength are far superior to the high-level magician. I am optimistic that you will become a true legendary mage in the future. Thank you Mr. Paul for his words. For the Lord Grodic, I naturally have a high respect. If I can get his inheritance, it is my life's privilege. Faced with opportunities, Ziwei naturally will not miss it. This book is the understanding and accumulation of the spatial plane left by the Grodic masters after leaving the world of Orient and exploring the deepest part of the multidimensional plane. There are not many spells recorded, but it represents the master's research and thoughts. Octopus Paul gave a large black cover book to Ziwei. I have been a magician for more than 100 years, but then I can only become a master of magic. There is no room for improvement. I hope this book will help you grow to a strong enough level. After all, that time is coming. That time, Ziwei asked inexplicably. It involves the secrets of the entire multifaceted plane, including the Orient continent, and even the two gods. I don't know the specific situation, but once that time comes, the present peacetime will no longer be there. The octopus Paul's face showed a dignified look. Freya is still too young, leaving her with too little time to grow up. As the Queen of Naga, she can't escape everything that is about to happen. Ziwei Xiao, still hope you can continue to grow and protect Fleet to shelter under the wings. Mr. Paul is a legendary powerhouse. The highest ranking powerhouse in the world. With your shelter, what else does Freya need to worry about? After completing the movement of the space law array, I am going to start a long evolution, at least to sleep for more than 3 years. Octopus Paul finally paid the end. In the meantime, I hope you can protect Freya. To be continued. Mobile users please browse and read, a better reading experience. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 284. Remember for 1 second, to provide you with wonderful novel reading. It is no difficulty for the legendary powerhouse and the space magician Paul. The main pillars and 8 pillars from the mysterious plane that has been shattered are placed in the tower that Ziwei has just built on the hill. Ziwei, who has already achieved a high-level magician, is very skilled in building high towers. He has listened to Paul's suggestion. He left enough space to become a space transmission hub to other planes in the future. After the arrangement was completed, the octopus Paul stood on the central stone pillar and sent it back to the deep-sea plane, activating the space of the plane. The octopus Paul soon fell into a deep sleep, which was also a very important evolution for him. After the evolution, the life form could be further changed to make up for the deficiency of an ordinary octopus. Ziwei, who has been published in the book Space Exploration, The Mystery of Multidimensional Surface, has devoted all his energy to this heavy book, and even completely lost Natalia, who has just discovered the new world and become acquainted with it. One side. Natalia's straight bite, she ran straight into Charlotte's bedroom, and Charlotte squeezed on a bed, known as providing personal guidance. Although Descartes' elemental magic book also recorded many spells, it gave the great development and inspiration of Ziwei, helping Ziwei to lay its own foundation on the path of elemental magic, but it could not be combined with this book. Space Exploration, The Mystery of Multi-Dimensions is comparable. This book is a record of the second law of the whole world, Void Traveler Grodic's understanding of space and multidimensional planes. Roughly read, there are not many space spells recorded in this book, but the core space surveying and breaking through the universal world are all in it, and through this book, Westway can understand the concept of a legendary magician to the world and to magic. This is more valuable than any legendary spell or legendary magical thing. After Ziwei came to this world, almost everything relied on his own exploration, and he lacked the proper understanding of the spells of the Orient continent. Therefore, this space exploration, the mystery of multi-dimensions, is simply a timely reign. If you count by word, this book is only 100,000 words, and Zero can scan him completely in 1 second. However, every sentence in this book has a profound meaning. Ziwei must fully understand the brain and understand it. This book is just like the Tao Jing and the Analects in the world. Grodic's original space spell has his original philosophical thoughts, and finally formed 36 mysterious empty inscriptions. These 36 inscriptions are almost the foundation and essence of Grodic's space spells. All of his space spells require these 36 unique empty inscriptions to be built. These 36 empty inscriptions are the most basic and core understanding of space and planes by the empty walker Grodic. And the 3 inscriptions with special effects in the Star Shuttle are undoubtedly one of the 36 empty inscriptions. But the 3 inscriptions belong to the simplest set of 12 first-order void inscriptions that can be used to build space spells below the master level. On top of that, there are 12 second-order void inscriptions for building 7 and 8 ring spells, and the final 12 third-order void inscriptions used to build legendary spells. The inscription of each grade is an increase in geometric difficulty. However, if you can fully grasp these 36 empty inscriptions, you can build a magical model that breaks through the universal world in the soul, and become a legendary caster who can cast legendary spells. Since the first law of Tolafid, there have been many legendary casters who can display the legendary 9-ring magic, but most of them have followed the path pioneered by their predecessors, and they cannot develop themselves. Road and Magic School. Although such a mage can also cast legendary spells, but cannot be included in the ranks of true legendary mage, cannot be called nth law. The octopus Paul can master the empty space, which means that he has at least 24 empty inscriptions, but there is still a long way to go to master the 36 empty inscriptions. The path of the legendary magician is so difficult. Zai Wei obviously has a very great respect for the last 7 legendary wizards in the world. Although he wants to widely promote magic and lead an arcane age, he will not too big to look down on these peerless talents. After 3 days of reading the entire book Space Exploration, The Mystery of Multidimensional Surface, 11 Wei concealed his contemplation and had another perspective on the whole multidimensional plane. The Grodic study found that the entire multi-position plane, including the astral sphere, is located within the same cosmic crystal wall. In this cosmic crystal wall, the speed of light is constant, and energy conversion is universal, that is, said that the entire multidimensional plane belongs to a system. Whether it is the 4 basic elements of geothermal feng shui, or any other rules of the universe, they are completely connected and universal. On this basis, space spells have come into use. They can truly understand the mysteries of space and use the mysteries of space to become an empty traveler who can walk freely through the entire multifaceted plane. Since the rise of mankind, it has not been more than 2,000 years. At that time, the first magician of the human being, Merlin, had only reached the level of the middle-level magician. However, humans now have a full 7 legendary magicians. Each of the legendary magicians is able to suppress other legendary powers and begin to pursue the existence of the deepest mysteries and more powerful forces in the world. The existence of the gods is naturally the strongest person who can't get past the legendary magician. It is also the object that every legendary magician wants to study and transcend. Through the study of the mystery of space, Grodic also began the study of Ms Yin and the glory of the Lord. This is undoubtedly a kind of blasphemy. Silver Moon power has the same origin as the whole multidimensional plane, and the glorious Lord's power has its own unique system. A system different from Ulanti's multiplane and cosmic wall. The Lord of Glory is probably from outside the universe we are in. This can verify one of my speculations: there are other universes outside the cosmic wall. This is really an exciting news. For the multifaceted plane, I have already learned the mystery of 7788. Only the more mysterious other universes can rekindle the flames in my heart. At the end of the book, Grodic's writing began to scribble. Obviously, Grodic left the Thousand French Tower 100 years ago. It is not simply to explore the deepest mysteries of the multidimensional plane. He is likely to go to another universe. To be continued. Mobile users, please browse and read, a better reading experience. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Du. Chapter 285. Remember for 1 second, to provide you with wonderful novel reading. For the origins of the glorious Lord, for almost 2000 years, all those who have a certain position on the mainland to start thinking will have the idea of seeking, but who can unearth the mystery of a God? The world of Orient is so vast that the Orient continent with only the main material plane has a population of 300 million, not the mysterious mainland of China, the sand of the south of the Golden Sea, and the back of the Endless Sea. Wild mainland. However, in this case, there are only 2 truly recognized gods in the mainland of the Orient, and it is not such a god is going all the way. The legend is like a dog under the setting of the world of Faran. A city of tens of thousands of people with tens of thousands of people may have several legendary powerhouses and gods. The faith of the glorious Lord began a great eruption when the dynasty of Alexander the Great would collapse more than 2000 years ago. The coming of the Son also pushed the faith of the Lord of Glory to the highest peak. And Grodik made another path. Through the analysis of the essence of the space universe, he came to the conclusion that the glory of the divine power comes from another universe. Although Zaiwei has not yet stood at the peak of this world, his vision is even wider than most masters and even legendary powerhouses. The scene that once happened in the mind of Zaiwei, the original contract that Smart Fook has said to Silver Moon, is likely to correspond to the mysterious time node that Octopus Paul reminded. Zaiwei has already smelled the breath of the mountains and the rain are coming from the wind. 11 Wei's heart could not help but feel a sense of urgency. After he defeated the vampire Count Saros, and he had the strength to confront the masters, he began to become a little lax. However, above the masters, there are pillars of the country, the legendary strong, the sanctuary, the demigod, and 2 true gods. The 8th order powerhouse, he himself experienced the Nwaman master template, and displayed the legendary elemental torrent spell in the ground lava, easily destroying the class of the first family of the Sorrow City. The elite army changed the landscape of a whole area. The legendary strongman he has contacted is the Octopus Paul, the last appearance of the Sea Temple in the battle, easily crush the sentient beings, control the overall situation. The sanctuary strong, the dark girl Elijah, although suppressed by the spider after the death, but after the Silver Moon redemption, she broke out of the fighting power far beyond the imagination of Zaiwei. On top of this, there are mysterious demon kings, spiders behind the Dark Elf Empire in the dark area. I am afraid they have reached the realm of demigod. I want to really stand in the footsteps of the waves and the chaos, and there is still a long way to go in Zaiwei. I got the book Space Exploration, The Mystery of Multidimensional Surface, which is not equal to the complete second law Voidwalker Grodik heritage. Most of his true spells and secrets are still in the Tower of the 1000 Laws. His rumored disciple is in his hands. However, 36 vacant inscriptions are already infinite possibilities, and it can be said that it is a great help to Zaiwei. 12 First Order Void inscriptions, Zaiwei has forcibly memorized 3 when analyzing Star Shuttle boots. At this moment, in contrast to the words in Grodik's book, Zaiwei instantly realized that 3 empty inscriptions have been mastered. The remaining 9 First Order Void inscriptions do not involve spells above the master level, so it is not difficult for Zaiwei. With the help of Zero, he learns and masters at a speed of 1 day. During this period, the Violet Academy has officially started, and Zaiwei has been deeply impressed. In addition to enriching the task reward system in the Western Wysis spell list, more students are eligible to join, and he rarely ends students. They communicate face to face. This is not the case that Zaiwei is deliberately pretending to be cold and keep distance, but the more he learns, the more he will perceive his own smallness and ignorance. For Zaiwei, the principal of the Violet College, almost all apprentices have a high respect and trust, even if it is a few mentor. In this case, as long as Zaiwei starts the class, even a casual sentence will be treated as truth, practice, and research. However, Zaiwei can now say that he is walking on his knees. he has seen the dawn of the Master's Certificate in Elemental Magic. However, the understanding of many spells is still very superficial. His own understanding of magic has not yet been integrated, and he is even more afraid to swear in front of the apprentices in order to avoid mistakes. Anyway, most of the students at Violet College are still in the apprenticeship stage, whether it is meditation, zero-ring spells or strong zero-loop spells, as well as basic lingua franca, mathematics, logical thinking, and spell model structure analysis. Mrs. Winschell is still able to complete the lectures of Charlotte and Fawaway. It's enough for them, not to mention that in the Western Ways spell list, each student can more easily learn how each spell's spell model is constructed. For them, the current college life is so enriching fun. Western spell list is a bold attempt by Sci-fi. It is not a panacea and has its own limitations. In this short period of time, Zero has continuously added 2 spare intelligent machines, in parallel with the Zero improved variant Talon, to support the more frequent visits of apprentices, and most apprentices still just simulate the zero-loop spell with the lowest resource in the virtual space. And as more and more high-level spells in the list of spells in the West, there is a new challenge to the variant tailing itself. Just relying on the current accumulation of Zyway, you can foresee that after up to 3 months, you can either limit the Silver spell list function, or you can only sit and watch Western Ways spell list and stop using it. At this moment, Zyway has some memories of Christine, but she is the grandson of the 7th law constructing the Empress Didura. In the magical structure, there must be a deep rumor. If you can cooperate with Christine to develop and upgrade, then Western spell list is likely to become more practical. In the future, it can even support thousands and tens of thousands of people to visit at the same time, and the spell level can be upgraded. As long as it is not a scorpion, you can see the great value contained in the Western spell list, which is an artifact that allows the magicians to learn new magic faster and easier. In this world, only the intelligent core Zero, which is the highest crystallization of human wisdom in the 35th century AD, is able to build so many complicated information into a standardized whole. Even if the legendary magician, even the gods above, can have enough mental and computational power to do this kind of thing, they definitely have no such effort. To be continued. Mobile users, please browse and read, a better reading experience.